Hey guys! When we talked about 10 characters who might come back in The Witcher 4, there was one very special and controversial. Many fans love and hate this character, saying that he doesn't belong to the Witcher universe, which is actually true. He is the most terrifying figure in The Witcher 3 and also, literally, breaks the world's rules. Even though Gaunter O'Dimm is a nice blend of German, Slavic, and overall European folklore and fiction, is he truly a villain?
Perhaps this time will be different. I saw you looking at each other.
How?
Shani, darling, would you ask an eagle how it knows how to fly? Regardless, what matters is Vladimir von Everett will bother you no more.
Whatever codex entry or article you read about him, he is portrayed as a person who is just evil. I've always had an unpopular opinion that the math isn't mathing when it comes to his character. Many things don't add up. Therefore, I can't call him a villain from many levels, narrative, psychological, and magical in terms of the lore. Gaunter O'Dimm is known as the Master Mirror, the Man of Glass, and to some, a god. But what if he's not as powerful as he wants us to believe? What if he's much smaller and we should be afraid of his shadow? And could he, in fact, be warning us, not out of cruelty but out of pity in The Witcher 3, to stay away from his private information? Today, we will explore Gaunter's true nature, his possible trauma, and what The Witcher 4 could reveal if my guess and deduction are correct and he will come back. Stick around and let's start talking. Most villains in The Witcher have clear motivations: power, revenge, or chaos, but Gaunter? He helps Geralt to find Yennefer for free.
Looking for a woman.
Like everyone. 2 schnapsies. It'll lift your spirits.
Can we cut to the chase? You seen her or not?
Yennefer of Vengerberg.
Never mentioned her name.
Yet you described her perfectly. And once I hear something, I never forget. Can't help it.
He gives advice.
Ah, there it is. The face of a man who's failed to understand a woman.
You understand her?
Of course. Women are simple. The problem is that men are hopeless fools. Your friend will now make a show of being hurt. Pick her some flowers, or bring her a drink. She'll get over it in a snap.
He respects those who follow the rules, and yet he also takes souls in horrifying ways. This contradiction is why people struggle to define him. Is he a demon, a djinn, a god?
What other spell must I use, damn it? I've tried them all. I wish to end our pact. I summon thee!
But if he is not any of those, then what is he? The answer lies in his deals, his strict rule following, and, most importantly, his potential trauma. Every great story has a character who lingers in the mind long after the tale ends. In The Witcher 3, that character is Gaunter O'Dimm. At first glance, he seems like another trickster, a Faustian devil who preys on the weak and foolish. But the deeper we look, the more contradictions appear. Yes, he is a being of unimaginable power, freezing time with a clap of his hands, yet he never forces his will upon others, and He has a weird fixation on spoons. He used them quite often for his magic and justice. He follows strict rules, abiding by contracts rather than indulging in chaos.
Remind me, O'Dimm, who is to fulfill my last 3 requests?
My assistant, Geralt.
Then be gone. I don't wish to look at your face any longer than I must.
He enjoys simple pleasures, word games, rhymes, and stories. Most importantly, he shows kindness to Geralt. From the moment we meet Gaunter O'Dimm in the White Orchard, something feels off. He sits in a dimly lit tavern, smiling warmly at Geralt. He speaks in riddles, but his tone is calm and even friendly. Unlike the many scammers and sorcerers or villagers Geralt encounters, Gaunter offers genuine help. He tells Geralt where to find Yennefer for free. No tricks, no price, no contract. Just information with a heartwarming line, "Maybe I will need your help one day." Why? If Gaunter is a malevolent force, why extend such kindness without demanding anything in return in his usual way? Later, when Geralt encounters him again in Hearts of Stone DLC, Gaunter seems almost pleased that he can help Geralt out. Gaunter never tricks him, never deceives him. Instead, he offers fair choices and gives him opportunities to walk away. If Gaunter is pure evil, why does he treat Geralt differently? Patiently. With kindness. That's where the mystery deepens. Why does Gaunter help Geralt for free? Why does he warn him about the dangers of knowing his name? Why does he enforce justice rather than spreading pure destruction? Fans often assume that Gaunter O'Dimm is a traditional evil entity, but I disagree. He is not a monster, but something far more tragic. Gaunter's deals mirror Faust, where the demon Mephistopheles doesn't steal souls. He waits for people to destroy themselves through their own wishes. Technically, Gaunter does the same. He doesn't chase innocent people. He picks those already rotten, those whose desires will doom them.
Had I not intervened, you would have lost your head for this. Do you know why he did it? Because he's a degenerate monster in human flesh who feeds on the pain and suffering of others.
This is why he calls himself Master Mirror. He reflects people's darkness back at them. Gaunter gives himself many names, to be fair. It amuses him. He even made himself God through his initials. Gaunter is not his real name. I sincerely believe that he tricked Olgierd simply because the latter set up an impossible condition for their deal. Like, let's meet on the moon, you know. He reflected Olgierd's darkness back at him, but was it intentional or out of his control? Let's think. If Gaunter was an almighty god or a demon of sorts, he wouldn't submit to an obvious trick from the mortal. Gaunter was forced to do it by whatever power controls him. And this bit is essential to understand about his character. We don't have to speculate about Gaunter's nature because the game itself gives us written evidence. In The Witcher 3, we can find in-game notes written by characters who investigated Gaunter O'Dimm. These notes explicitly state, he is neither a djinn nor a demon. This is crucial, because it contradicts the common assumption that Gaunter is simply a Witcherverse version of the devil, Djinn, or Rumpelstiltskin. In fact, he doesn't belong to any known category of supernatural beings. Djinns grant wishes but do not enforce strict contracts. Demons manipulate through lies and chaos, whereas Gaunter is bound by rules, even if those are rules of manners in communication.
I must introduce myself. Gaunter O'Dimm. My, what a lovely dress. The colour suits you exquisitely.
Rumpelstiltskin was fond of innocent babies, not souls. This means we need to think bigger. If Gaunter isn't a demon, what is he? Could he be something more ancient? Could he be like the unseen elder, be a creature that predates human understanding? Perhaps Gaunter is not a master of destiny, but rather its servant. The way Mephistopheles wasn't the true master in Faust, the same fate fits perfectly well into Gaunter's arc and behavior. He's just a middleman. And that leads us to the terrifying possibility. Gaunter isn't in charge. Indeed, there is something unsettling about how Gaunter behaves. He sends Geralt to a pocket of reality if Geralt chooses to save Olgerd. Therefore, we can say that he is powerful enough to bend time and even space to some extent. Yet he does not rule. He doesn't demand worship, nor does he seem interested in power for its own sake. Instead, he enforces balance, granting rewards to the desperate, but always ensuring they pay the price and look at the mirror. He also has an eerie obsession with mind games and rhymes. Why would an all-powerful being amuse himself with riddles? Why would he give people a way to outsmart him? Unless he wants to be beaten. Think about it. If Gaunter were truly an unstoppable villain, he wouldn't need contracts, he wouldn't need wordplay or loopholes. He could simply take what he wants, but he doesn't. Instead, he follows rules and teaches lessons. He lets people trick him if they're clever enough. It's almost as if he's testing them. Gaunter sees himself as a judge rather than a villain. He believes his work is necessary, but what if deep down he despises it? This could explain why he's so light-hearted despite his dark work. He might be trying to maintain some sense of sanity in an existence he no longer enjoys.
It needs a soul intelligent and clever. An individual who fears no dare. Someone like you.
Pure flattery, that.
Of course it is. After all, I am a traveling merchant. But make no mistake, I've many interesting wares on offer. But above all, I offer a great and true adventure. An experience like no other, the fate of only the chosen few.
Now we arrive at the most important question. Is Gaunter actually free? Let's examine his behavior. He follows very specific rules, despite his immense power. He warns Geralt as if he knows something worse is out there.
He smiled at me, said he was honoured I'd taken such an interest in him. He wished to thank me, and explained he'd taken a similar interest in me. He drew the circle and said I'd be safe within it.
He joins trivial conversations about gingerbread as if he's distracting himself from his true business and nature.
What do you mean, time? An ingredient?
Time gives the proper consistency. Time provides that ideal crunch on the outside, the delicious moistness within.
If Gaunter were the ultimate power, he wouldn't need any contracts at all. Why wouldn't he simply take what he wants without resistance? The answer is simple. Because he's not at the top of the food chain. Perhaps long ago, Gaunter himself made a deal. Gaunter enjoys stories, he knows his boundaries, appreciates polite communication, and even cares for the protagonist. He respects people who follow the rules.
Won't want anything else from me?
Just one. Honesty. Don't overthink it. Surrender to spontaneous honesty. Nothing more beautiful in human relationships.
These are not traits of a villain. These are traits of someone trying to make peace with their reality and identity. Someone who might be a prisoner of their own contract. Let's say Gaunter is truly all-powerful, okay? Why does he avoid sharing his name then? This suggests there are limitations to his power. This could mean his name holds power over him. Some mythologies suggest that knowing a being's true name allows you to control or banish them, sometimes forever. Gaunter is not at the top of the food chain. I think that Gaunter has an employer. This entity is something beyond human comprehension, like the unseen elder whose existence predates even elves. As an inspiration for my theory, I take Lovecraftian horror. There, lesser beings make deals not because they want to, but because they must. Because they are bound by laws older than time. Gaunter follows rules with eerie precision, even when it doesn't benefit him, like the situation with Olgerd. Remember when Gaunter almost told Geralt the truth? He stopped himself out of goodwill or because Geralt's soul wasn't flawed enough for his collection. Gaunter has many names because they are masks that hide him. His true name is his absolute weakness.
You're not human, that's clear. So what are you? A demon? A djinn?
Do you really wish to know?
Yes.
No, Geralt. You don't. This one time I shall spare you and not grant your wish. All who have learned my true name are now either dead or have met an even worse fate. Yet I still need you.
This moment says everything. Gaunter was willing to tell Geralt who he was, but he stopped himself because knowing his true name leads to death or worse. What if his name, his real name, is bound to his master? Gaunter was once free, but made the same mistake his victims do. He made a deal. And what's the best way to escape a contract? Don't say the name, don't acknowledge the giver. If Gaunter O'Dimm appears in The Witcher 4, the story has a huge potential for an epic, absolute evil. If he's not the true villain and just a middleman, then The Witcher 4 might introduce something even more terrifying. We already know that Ciri is being set up as a major force in the next game, and she's able to combine the witchcraft and magic. If Gaunter is merely a herald of a greater power, Ciri could become the one destined to fight it. And if that happens, Gaunter might switch sides. Even if you chose to save Olgerd and Geralt was able to outsmart Gaunter, then Ciri, who can travel between worlds, might be able to free him. After all, Gaunter has shown kindness before, and maybe, in the end, he is looking for someone who can save him from his fate. Alright guys, let's start a discussion. What do you think? Is Gaunter a villain, a trickster, or a prisoner of his own contract? Have we uncovered the truth, or is he playing an even deeper game? The more I look at Gaunter O'Dimm, the more I realize I'm just scratching the surface. Gaunter remains one of the most fascinating characters in the Witcher series. While he appears to be an all-powerful villain, the clues suggest something far more complex and tragic. If The Witcher 4 introduces a great cosmic antagonist, then Ciri being able to travel between realms may be the only one who can stop it. Gaunter might not even be an enemy. He might be a guide, warning her just as he warned Geralt. Have fun, play video games, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!